Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am the Brooklyn Book Bill, aka Lisi, and hey y'all, oh my gosh, how's everyone doing? I'm really enjoying this summer. I really am. Like, I don't know, this summer feels different. I don't know if it's because like I'm not working full time and like I just graduated. I don't know, but this summer feels like really good. And I also think that a large part of it does have everything to do with coming back to YouTube, and that is in thanks to the reading challenge Black Booktube is reading. I failed miserably at the challenge. We were supposed to post for 30 days, but I think that everything is a learning opportunity, and in participating in the challenge, I was able to reignite kind of my joy for making long form content. And yeah, and I've just had a really great time. Being back over here, talking, yapping, watching all of the videos. And I want to give an actual thank you to Sierra, the creator of the Black Booktubers Reading Challenge. Girl, you brought a lot of content creators to the forefront, and we were all able to find each other, like each other's videos, and start watching each other, and that is amazing. And so I am very appreciative for all the knowledge you shared, not only in the group, but also just kind of watching what you do online has been really awesome to watch, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. But yeah, so this summer feels different, and you know, when you're in grad school, you don't get a lot of time to like personally do things. I mean, I read so I can kind of like disconnect from the world. And so I was still finding ways to read while I was in school when I probably should have been doing homework or something, right? I was still reading. But this summer, I feel like I'm reconnecting with books. Like, I'm taking books down like nobody's business, babe. But today's video is special. I am trying to figure out a way to crossbreed my adult learning adventures and what I learned in grad school and my love for reading, because those two things definitely go together. I don't know if you guys read it, but I read the article, The End of Reading is Here. It was in the Atlantic. It does have a paywall. Just sign up for the free 30-day trial and then get rid of it. But the article is worth a read. And I think that the adult learner is now going to be pushed to the forefront of importance, or not, because it does seem like that's what they want. And so reading is political. Reading is more than just a choice. Committing to be a lifelong learner is imperative at this point. And with that, I bring you part 2 of what I learned from Black romance. This is my trope study. I read a lot of romance, a lot of Black romance specifically. In today's video, and the trope that we're going to be discussing is second chance romance and how it hits different when Black love is at the center. Come with me on this journey, okay? And at the end, if you stay for the duration of the video, I have a book recommendation. Okay. So like, y'all, have you ever met someone and it just felt like wrong place, wrong time, right? Like, maybe I loved you really fast, really deeply, but life, fear, your trauma, my trauma, or ambition, or whatever, something got in the way, right? And then years later, you kind of think like, oh, what if I met that person like right now, who I am today, and not who I was back then? And that's exactly why I love a good second chance romance. They're not just like getting back together, okay? They're becoming the kind of people who can love each other well. Emphasis on loving each other well, right? And when those stories center Black main characters, written by Black authors, they often become something even richer, right? There's more to it. It's not just a story about Black romance. It's a story about healing, about community, about generational expectations, identity, vulnerability, and choosing love after life has actually changed you. And you know, my adult learning brain is like, right, because you're changing. Okay. So today we're going to talk about why these second chance romances are some of my favorite books. Oh, I just love when they like bump into each other and they're like, I still feel away, but I don't want to feel away about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I live for that. The drama. I live for the drama. And so, so I think what makes Black romance or second chance romances so powerful is because unlike enemies to lovers or fake dating, second chance romances start with history. There's history between these two people, right? And so it's like an unfolding that these characters knew each other. They've already fallen in love. They've already hurt each other. That means that the real conflict isn't why will they fall in love? It's will they be able to rebuild trust? Let's go back. The real conflict isn't if they will fall in love. It is if they will be able to rebuild the trust. Get into it. Hope I'm preaching to somebody today. And I'm just playing, y'all. I'm really into this. Okay. And I have notes. That's why I keep looking down. But I think the fascinating question about not if they'll fall in love, but can they rebuild trust is fascinating because we're forcing us as the readers to think about forgiveness and not necessarily forgetting what has happened, not pretending nothing has happened, but asking if the growth is enough to create something healthier on the other side than what existed before. Not saying that all the second chances are built around like trauma or the fact that it was unhealthy, right? But just also naming a thing. But the best second chance romances understand that love by itself is not enough, right? Communication matters, the timing matters, the emotional maturity of the two characters, the accountability that whoever hurt the other person, if one person hurt the person and that was the cause of the break, right? The accountability matters. And that's why this trope always feels very satisfying when I get to the end, because I'm like, someone has been accountable. Someone has apologized. We have forgiven but not forgotten, and we are deciding to move forward together, right? There's something very tangible and palpable here between these two people, and we're going to do this together. You get what I'm saying? We're going to do it together and we're going to move forward. Okay. But I do want to say that, like, I think the second chance romances feel different with Black and POC characters because the relationships are so layered. This romance is not happening in isolation, right? It's happening within families, friend groups, church groups, neighborhoods, careers, and all the cultural traditions kind of wrap it all up together. But the characters aren't just navigating their romantic feelings, they're also navigating community. Many Black romance authors really understand that relationships don't exist in this vacuum. And so they create this world and this cast of like secondary characters that are asking the questions that the readers would probably ask, if that makes sense, right? If my homegirl comes back and she's like, girl, me and Dante back together, I'm gonna be like, Dante, okay, now where you saw him at? Now how y'all got back there? Now what you doing that for? Like, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's that homegirl or best friend conversation that happens. So my friend is not having this experience by herself. She's welcoming me into it, right? And so I get to ask her questions and probe her and push her. Whole thing. Okay. But I like that in these books, your grandmama gonna have an opinion, your best friend gonna have an opinion, maybe your funny cousin, right? I just read a book this weekend that was a second chance romance, and the cousin was mad funny. Me, your best friend, I'm definitely gonna have an opinion. And sometimes the whole neighborhood remembers when y'all broke up, and this creates a very different emotional landscape than romances where the couples exist very much on their own. And so, yeah, so those characters are often some of my favorite characters because I'm like, right, y'all doing the Lord's business. Y'all out here asking the questions that need to be asked. Oh, I love a second chance romance with a good cast. Because we're going to make jokes. We're gonna be like, what? Huh? Girl, you know I like you? Like, I live for that. I live for that. Black romance, keep doing it. Okay, so I have 4 lessons that I feel like I have taken from Black romance and the trope, specifically second chance romance. And so we're gonna rapid fire through them super quick. Okay, lesson one, healing comes before reconciliation. And one of the biggest lessons that these books specifically teach us is that love cannot necessarily replace the healing. A lot of second chance romances begin because one or both people simply weren't emotionally ready the first time. Like maybe they carried their childhood wounds, maybe they prioritize survival over relationships, and maybe they struggle with vulnerability, right? But when we revisit them years later, they've often done the work, or they're willing to initiate the work because something is telling them this relationship is important and I must do the work to shift. Not because they wanted their ex back, but because they wanted their lives to be better. And that's a very important distinction, right? A healthy reconciliation isn't about changing for the other person, right? It's about growing into your healthiest self and then seeing if the relationship can thrive from that new place. And I'm really thinking about the book that I read this weekend. Okay, we're gonna get to that in the end. Okay, lesson two, accountability is romantic. Surprise, surprise. Wow, yeah, one thing I absolutely love about a well-written second chance romance is that apologies matter, okay? Not the movie version where someone's like, oh, I'm sorry, and everything is magically fixed. No, real accountability. Own your mistakes, change your behavior, listening without becoming defensive, respecting boundaries, showing consistency over time. And honestly, when I watch someone earn their trust back, it can be so much more romantic than watching two strangers fall in love. Like, oh, my favorite romance movie / horror film is Love Jones. And I think that was what was missing with the movie for me, was that we didn't really get to see these two kind of build back the trust after they had both clowned and Nina had left and it came back, right? We gotta get this fairy tale ending, but we don't really get to see the two characters engage with each other and really build it back, which is something that I would have loved to see from their two characters specifically. And I was building out what I was going to talk about today. Something that really stood out was how much value trust actually has, and it's very expensive in the context of a relationship. That can be a friendship, a family, your lover, right? Trust has value. And so a lot of second chance romances remind us that building or rebuilding takes a lot of patience. Because baby, sometimes I be reading them second chance romances and I be like, girl, he done said he's sorry. He paid off all your bills. He took your grandmother to church. He said he was sorry. Okay, let it go. No, I'm just playing. Don't let it go. But it does take patience, right? And so when we're seeing that on the page, it builds the emotional currency between me and the characters, because I'm like, yes, okay, I'm watching this person do the work, right? And take accountability, which is extremely romantic. Okay, lesson 3, growth is not linear. Okay, another thing, these stories really remind us that personal growth is messy. It is messy. People relapse into old habits. Old fears resurface. That is one of the most, the old emotions or old fears resurfacing, holding on to the old habits, and people's hurt not disappearing overnight is really the crux of the tension in a good second chance romance, right? Like, I like you, but in the back of my mind, I'm still reeling on that thing that you did that really tore us apart, and I really don't know if I could get over it. It builds the most beautiful and human tension, because that is really how we are. Like, I could love you so much, but I am never going to forget that thing that you did, and it's up to me to kind of work through how that made me feel and really kind of get to the pinpoint, the bottom of it. And then if I decide to move forward, we're gonna have to both move forward, right? With this clear conscience. And so watching the character kind of struggle with that is a beautiful, beautiful experience, right? The strongest Black romance authors don't pretend the healing is perfect. They don't. They show us that the characters are making different choices when old wounds are still very much present and still exist. That is real, right? Growth isn't becoming a completely different person. It's responding differently when life gives you the same test. And some of the characters really drive me crazy with the back and forth of them really tussling with, have I grown? Have they grown? Are we gonna be able to grow together? That kind of like fear of, if I move forward, will you do the same thing again? Right? It's a lot happening. Okay, and my last one, community can help love grow. One thing I always notice in Black romances is that community isn't just the background decoration, right? And I'm thinking of like Uncle Lee Chester in who's that? Is that Alexandria House? I'm pretty sure it's Alexandria House's book. But Uncle Lee Chester is one of my favorite characters, and it's a part of the love story of all of his nephews, right? You know, Uncle Lee Chester is coming in to be ruckus and the comedic relief, but he also says things kind of in that old person way that they're pushing you to go do a thing. You know what I mean? Like, he moves the plot forward sometimes in the funny things that he's saying, but it's because it's also rooted in truth. You know? And so it's a part of the love story. Like, we can all name a favorite family member, friend of the main character from our favorite book. Please drop your favorite below. And don't take Lee Chester, because I already said him. But, who is that? Is it Cammie Holt that has the book with Granny, and she like calls somebody a hoochie trollop? And I was like, why would you call her that? But she didn't like the girl, like, or the new girlfriend or something. Oh, I have to go back and read that. Okay, but parents, friends, church members, the barbers, your sorority sisters, family cookouts, like holiday dinners, all of the scenarios and the situations with these people create spaces where relationships are tested and strengthened. I love when it's like an urban romance and he's like this street criminal, but he has to go to this very fine dinner, right? And his family is there and they're like, who is this woman? That's not who we told you to marry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then I live, especially when it's a second chance, because they like, what this hoochie doing back around the family? Oh, I live for it. Okay. Either way, sometimes the things that they're offering is wisdom. Sometimes it's conflict. But both remind us that relationships don't only affect the two main characters. Love is often a network of care and a network of community, and I think that is a beautiful thing when we're watching it in a second chance romance. I do want to say that Black authors bring like a very unique emotional honesty to second chance romance, which I appreciate, because they understand that identity often shapes the relationship. It just does, right? Career opportunities, colorism, family dynamics, class difference, right? We were just talking about the urban romance, right? When someone gets brought to a state dinner because they are paying the politicians under the table, there's still this class dynamic that's happening. Grief, mental health, geography, the pressure to succeed, or the pressure to bring your family out of poverty is often a part of these stories. And so the expectations don't replace the romance, they deepen it. Get into it. Somebody write that down. Y'all heard that, right? These experiences don't replace the romance. They deepen it and they make the story fuller. And again, they are creating all of these emotional ties from me, the reader, to the characters, which I'm like, this is what I'm here for. So instead of pretending that love solves everything, these books ask an even better question. How do two people choose each other while carrying real life responsibilities? And that makes the story interesting, right? And not just real life responsibilities, right? They're also carrying their personage, each of them, plus whatever they've been through in the past, into this moment and having to kind of navigate it. Which brings me to my book recommendation. Thank you. So happy that you stayed this long with me chatting and yapping. Okay, let me go over to Storygraph. So I have been seeing this book up and down threads, and I follow the author over on TikTok, and so she posts about it as well. But I read After the Knockout by A. Blossom, and here's the description, because I love a description. She came home to survive the storm. Surviving her 6'3" tattooed boxer ex was a whole different fight. Years ago, Lyris Anderson thought she'd fled Azalea County. Her broken heart and Dakota KO knockout or knocks for good. But 5 years later, a hurricane sends her running back home with a secret and no choice but to shelter with the one man she's never been able to forget. Dakota K.O. Knox is on the verge of the biggest fight of his career. The last thing he needs is a woman who disappeared from his life without a trace showing back up with a secret big enough to knock him completely off his square. When the storm finally passes, K.O. and Lyris will have to decide if the love they lost is worth fighting for one more time, because sometimes getting knocked down isn't the end of the story. It's what happens after the knockout that really matters. And I just want to say, y'all know I do not rate books numerically, publicly, but this was a quintessential second chance romance, okay? I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but she hurt him. She leaves. She comes back. He is shocked. There's also something happening that he was not privy to, because all he knew was that he was mad at her for what she did or what she was involved in to get him hurt the first time. And you know, shout out to A. Blossom, because she really included some things in this that this representation is so important, especially in the journey of forgiveness in the context of Black romance and a second chance. I think she does a really good job of showing the actual steps of the forgiveness. And if you don't know how to go about forgiving by yourself, asking for help and kind of like using outside resources to facilitate the forgiveness journey. I think it was a very powerful use of this resource in this book. Yeah, shout out to A. Blossom. This was written so well, and it was so different, right? A hurricane, you and your ex, y'all gotta be, you know, forced proximity, but there's a secret. It was just like the perfect storm. No pun intended. But yeah, so how do we feel? How do we feel? I feel like I really talked really fast. Y'all know I'm from Alabama. I talk real fast. My bad. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up and just say that, like, second chance romances remind us that endings are not always perfect or permanent, right? It's not going to be wrapped up in a little bow when you get a box. It's not perfect, but it's also not permanent. You can open it back up, and sometimes there are pauses, right? And sometimes they're lessons. Sometimes they are invitations to become better, which I really appreciate. And seeing Black people choosing joy, choosing to be vulnerable, choosing healing, and choosing forgiveness, and choosing each other is definitely why Black romance, second chance tropes deserve to be celebrated. And so I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite second chance romance featuring Black main characters written by a Black author? Those are the two distinctions that make it a Black romance. Thank you very much. And please leave your recommendations in the comments, because I'm always looking to add more Black romance to my possibility pile. Y'all know I do not do TBRs, but if you leave a good book, I will go check it out immediately. But yeah, so if you made it this far in my video today, please do not hesitate to drop a stack of books, and please let me know your favorite second chance romances. But until next time, you guys, bye.